I met Jessica again on a Tuesday. It had been almost a decade since we last spoke, not because of a falling out, just life pulling us in different directions. I got married. She moved abroad. We liked each other's posts occasionally, maybe a birthday message every couple years. So when she messaged me one evening out of the blue, "Hey stranger, I'm moving back to town. Coffee?" I didn't think twice. I was sitting next to my wife, Leah, when I saw the message. We were curled up on the couch watching some crime documentary she loved. I showed her the message. "Jessica?" she asked. "Old college friend," I said. "We were pretty close back then." "Go," she smiled. "You don't have many friends these days. It'll be nice to catch up." That was Leah. Trusting, kind, never jealous. I texted Jessica back. "Sure. Friday work for you?" It did. She looked almost exactly the same. Maybe a little more tired around the eyes, but still the same expressive smile and thick, curly hair I remembered from our university days. We hugged awkwardly at first, then laughed at how old that made us feel. "Michael," she said, sitting down across from me at the small cafe table. "You haven't aged." "Lies," I laughed. "You, though, you still look like the girl who beat me at trivia night every week." "I still would," she teased. It felt easy, natural, like we'd just picked up where we left off. We talked for 2 hours that day about everything. Her divorce, my job, Leah, life. She told me her marriage fell apart after 6 years. He wanted kids, and I didn't. That was just one of 100 things we didn't agree on, she said, stirring her coffee slowly. I guess we just stopped trying. I told her Leah and I were trying to start a family. "We're not there yet," I admitted, "but we're hopeful." Jessica smiled. "That's great. She sounds lovely." She is. We parted with a hug and a promise to keep in touch. I meant it. But I didn't know then how much. A week later, we met again. Then again. Sometimes it was for lunch, sometimes coffee, once a walk through the city park. Always harmless. Always. During work hours or when Leah was out with friends. And every time, I told Leah, at first. "She's just lonely," I said once when Leah asked about the third meetup in 2 weeks. "She doesn't have anyone else in the city yet." "Of course," Leah nodded. "I'm glad you're there for her." Her trust was never in question. That made it worse, because somewhere along the way, I stopped telling Leah when I saw Jessica, not because we were doing anything wrong. We weren't. But because I started liking the secret. The turning point wasn't a kiss. It wasn't a touch. It was a message. One night, around midnight, I got a text from Jessica. "I miss talking to you when you're not around." My heart thudded. Not because of the words, but because of how they made me feel. I stared at my phone for a full minute before putting it face down on the nightstand. Leah was asleep beside me. I didn't reply. That night, I dreamed of Jessica. And I woke up, ashamed. From there, everything got blurry. I started pulling away from Leah bit by bit. Not drastically, just little things. Less hand-holding, shorter conversations, more time on my phone, more work, meetings. I was still a good husband, on paper. I still brought her coffee in the mornings, still kissed her goodnight. But something invisible had shifted, and she felt it. "Is something wrong?" she asked one Sunday morning as we made pancakes together. "No," I said, smiling too quickly. "Just tired. Work's been insane." She nodded, but her eyes lingered. That night, I went to Jessica's apartment for the first time. I told myself it was innocent. She had said she was having a rough day, that she missed talking face to face. "Come over, just for a little while," she had said. "You don't even have to take your shoes off." I went. We drank tea, talked on her couch. She was in sweatpants, no makeup, hair in a messy bun. But she looked beautiful. I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Wanted. When she leaned her head on my shoulder, I didn't move. When she touched my hand, I let her. When she whispered, "Do you ever think about what we could have been?" I didn't answer, but I thought about it for days after. The guilt became unbearable. I started avoiding both of them. I ignored Jessica's texts. I made excuses to Leah. And then, one evening, Leah sat me down. "I know," she said. I froze. "Know what?" "I know you've been seeing her," she said quietly. I saw the texts. My heart stopped. "Leah, don't," she said, holding up her hand. "I don't want lies, just the truth." I swallowed hard. "We never slept together," I said. "But you wanted to," she replied. I couldn't deny it. She wiped a tear from her cheek, but her voice didn't crack. "Do you love her?" "No," I said honestly. I was just lost. I missed feeling something new. And she made me feel wanted. "I wanted you," Leah whispered. "Every day. I just didn't think I had to compete with someone who was supposed to be your friend." I reached for her hand. She pulled away. "I don't know what happens next," she said, "but I need space." That night, I slept on the couch. Jessica texted me at 3 a.m. "I didn't mean to ruin anything." I didn't reply. I couldn't. Days turned into weeks. Leah barely spoke to me. We coexisted in the same house like strangers. I offered to go stay at a hotel. She said no. "You broke something. You don't get to run from it." I deleted Jessica's number, blocked her on everything. I didn't tell Leah, not because I wanted praise, but because I wanted her to know I was choosing her without needing her to see it. But it was too late for gestures. The damage had been done, and I didn't know if it could be undone. Leah didn't speak much that week. She got up early before I even opened my eyes. She made breakfast like she always did, but didn't leave a plate for me. She went to work. She came home. She stayed in the bedroom while I stayed in the living room. We became ghosts in our own home. I had no idea if she was crying behind the door, if she was thinking about leaving me, or if she already had. And maybe that was the worst part. Not knowing where her heart stood anymore, I started going on long walks every evening. I left my phone behind. No music. No distractions. Just me and my thoughts, and the cold air that stung my face as I walked aimlessly through the quiet streets. I passed couples laughing, holding hands, people walking their dogs, teenagers skating, and every time I saw a happy face, I felt like I didn't belong in the world anymore. I had everything a man could want, and I ruined it for something that didn't even matter in the end, because Jessica wasn't the problem. I was. On the 5th night, I came home late. The apartment was dark except for the warm glow of the lamp beside the couch. I saw Leah sitting there, arms wrapped around her knees, eyes red and puffy. "Can we talk?" she asked softly. I nodded, unsure if my legs would carry me. I sat down on the opposite end of the couch, giving her space. She looked at me like she was searching for something. Maybe honesty. Maybe love. Maybe the man she married. "Do you still love me?" she asked. The question cut me open. "Yes," I said. I never stopped. She didn't answer for a long time, just stared at her hands. "When you married me," she said, her voice shaking, "you promised to protect my heart, but you handed it to someone else." I blinked back tears. "I didn't mean to." "But you did," she whispered. "You chose her. Every time you texted her instead of me. Every time you laughed with her and told her things you didn't tell me. You chose her." My throat burned. "It wasn't love." "No," she said. "It was worse." We sat in silence for what felt like hours. "I don't know if I can trust you again," she said at last. "But I want to." I looked up, surprised. "Why?" I asked. She wiped her cheek. "Because I still love you too. And I hate myself for it. But I do." That night, she let me hold her. She didn't kiss me. She didn't say it was okay. But she let me hold her. And that was enough. The road back was slow. We started having dinner together again, talking more. She even agreed to go to therapy with me. We saw a counselor twice a week, sometimes together, sometimes separately. The first few sessions were hard. She cried. I cried. She yelled. I listened. And when it was my turn, I opened up more than I ever had, about my fears, about feeling like I was fading in my own life, about needing to feel seen. The counselor said something that stuck with me. Emotional. Affairs happen when you stop turning toward your partner and start turning away. That's exactly what I had done. Months passed. Slowly, we started healing. Leah smiled more. I laughed again. We went to the movies, took a weekend trip, cooked dinner together. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. I never heard from Jessica again, and I never reached out. Some days I still thought about her, not because I missed her, but because I hated the version of myself I became around her. She had been a mirror showing me every crack I had ignored. Then one night, something happened. We were lying in bed. Leah was half asleep, her head on my chest, our fingers intertwined. I looked at her and felt something I hadn't in a long time. Peace. Thank you, I whispered. She looked up, confused. For what? For choosing to stay. For fighting for us. Her eyes softened. We both had to fight. She kissed, me gently. It wasn't fiery or passionate. It was quiet. Real. We never told anyone what happened. Not our families, not our friends, because some wounds heal better in private. But we changed after that. We were more careful with each other, more intentional. We made time. We spoke up when we were hurting. We became each other's safe place again. And one day, months later, Leah held my hand and said something I never thought I'd hear again. I trust you. I didn't cry in that moment. But later, in the shower, I broke down. Because I knew what it took for her to say those words. Sometimes, when we walk past that cafe where I first saw Jessica again, I feel a little twinge in my stomach. Not regret, not longing, just a reminder of what almost slipped away, and how lucky I am that it didn't. I always believed that the strongest marriages weren't built on passion. They were built on honesty. I still believe that. But what do you do when the one person you trusted with everything hides something so big, so heartbreaking, that it shatters the world you thought was solid? My name is Daniel. I'm 35, and until last year I thought I had a perfect marriage. My wife, Rachel, and I had been together for nearly 7 years. We met at a bookstore. Cheesy, I know, but it felt like fate. We liked the same authors, hated the same movie adaptations, and ordered the same coffee. Rachel was sweet, smart, and full of energy. She made life feel lighter, and for a long time, she made me feel like the luckiest man on earth. But no one tells you what to do when the person you love becomes someone you don't even recognize. It started with small things. Rachel started coming home late. At first it made sense. She had gotten promoted at work, and the new responsibilities were demanding. She worked in marketing at a tech company, and she was excited about leading a new project with a new team. Just a few more weeks, she told me. Once the campaign launches, things will slow down. I believed her. She'd come home exhausted, drop her bag, give me a quick kiss, and crash on the couch. Sometimes she'd forget to eat. Other times she'd eat alone in the bedroom while watching her shows. She used to tell me about her day, the funny coworker moments, the annoying meetings, the bad coffee in the office. But slowly, those stories stopped coming. One night I asked her, "So, how's the project going?" She looked up from her phone, paused, and said, "It's fine, busy." That was it, just fine. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. I really didn't. But when you go from being your wife's favorite person to feeling like an afterthought, it hurts. Deep down, I felt something was wrong, but I buried it. I convinced myself she was just tired, stressed, overwhelmed. Then came the weekend. She said she had a work retreat. It was a Saturday morning. She had packed a small bag and kissed me goodbye. "I'll be back Sunday evening," she said. I offered to drop her off, but she said, "No need. I'm getting a ride with Alex. He's heading there too." Alex. I had heard that name before, once or twice. "Just another coworker," she said. I smiled and said, "Okay," but as soon as she walked out that door, something in me cracked. I tried to stay busy that weekend. Cleaned the house, played video games, watched old shows we used to love. But everything reminded me of her. Sunday evening came. No call, no message, nothing. At 10 p.m., I heard the front door open. Rachel stepped in, her hair messy, her face flushed. She looked surprised to see me still awake. "Hey," she said, sounding casual. "You're up." "Yeah," I said. "Wanted to hear about your retreat." She blinked. "It was good, productive, tiring." She walked past me and into the bedroom. That's when I noticed her shirt, a man's hoodie, not hers, not mine. I didn't say anything that night, but the next day, when she left for work, I called her office. I asked to speak to her manager. Pretended I was confirming a scheduling issue for Rachel. That's when I found out there was no retreat. No one in the office had left town that weekend. My blood ran cold. I sat in silence, staring at the wall, feeling my entire world tilt sideways. Didn't confront her right away. Instead, I did something I never thought I would do. I followed her. The next Friday, I told Rachel I was going to visit my brother. I packed a bag, kissed her goodbye. Then I drove a few blocks away, parked, and waited. An hour later, I saw her leave. She wasn't alone. She was with Alex, tall, athletic, smiling. They got into his car and drove off. I followed them all the way to a small town, about an hour away. They checked into a hotel. I waited in my car. 4 hours, then 5. I watched the window of room 212 light up, then go dark. I drove home in silence. The next morning, Rachel came back, acting like everything was normal. She kissed me on the cheek, asked if I had fun with my brother, told me she missed me, and I just nodded. I felt like a stranger in my own house. The woman I loved had become someone else, someone who could lie with a straight face. That night, when she went to shower, I opened her laptop. She had forgotten to log out. I found emails, hundreds of them, back and forth between her and Alex, jokes, flirting, pictures, plans, memories they made behind my back, and the worst part, she told him things she never told me, things I begged her to share during our quietest nights, fears, dreams, memories. She gave him all of it. I printed the emails, every single one. Then I put them in a folder and left them on the kitchen table. The next morning, I was gone before she woke up. I didn't answer her calls. I needed time, space, air. When I finally came back that night, Rachel was sitting on the floor, surrounded by the printed pages, crying. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. "I can explain," she said, through tears. I didn't say a word. I just stood there, looking at the woman I thought I knew. She begged. She sobbed. She told me it wasn't real, that she had made a mistake, but I wasn't ready to hear it. I moved out that night, took a few clothes, left my wedding ring on the dresser, and as I closed the door behind me, I realized something. Love isn't always enough, because love without honesty, it's just a beautiful lie. I didn't sleep that night. After leaving the house, I drove aimlessly until I ended up in a parking lot near the beach. I sat there watching the waves crash in the darkness, feeling completely hollow inside. I had thought heartbreak would come like a loud explosion, but it didn't. It came like a slow burn, quiet, suffocating, and there was no one to blame. But the woman I loved. Rachel texted me dozens of times that night. "I'm so sorry. Please come back. We can talk, please. I never wanted to hurt you. I love you." I read every message and still felt nothing, just tired, numb. The next morning, I checked into a cheap motel across town. I needed space to think, to breathe. But that space didn't stop the memories, waking up beside her, cooking dinner together on lazy Sundays. The way she used to laugh when I'd mess up lyrics to her favorite songs. Was it all fake? Or had it just changed? That question haunted me. For a week, I didn't respond. I didn't go to work. I shut everything off. My phone, my email, even the world around me. Until one morning, my brother knocked on the motel door. He looked concerned. "I know what happened," he said softly. "She came to the house." My heart sank. "What did she say?" I asked. "That she's sorry, that she's lost you, that she wants to talk." I shook my head. There's nothing left to say, but even as I said it, I wasn't sure I believed it. Because love doesn't vanish overnight. And pain doesn't always mean it's over. Sometimes it means it mattered. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to face her one last time. Met her at a small coffee shop, the same one where we had our first date. She looked broken. Hair pulled back in a messy bun. No makeup. Eyes red and puffy. A far cry from the confident woman I had known. She stood when I walked in but didn't try to hug me. She just sat back down, waiting. I sat across from her. We stared at each other for a long time before she finally spoke. "I don't know where to begin." "Start with the truth," I said. She nodded slowly. "It didn't start with the intention of cheating. At first, it was just someone to talk to. Someone who listened. You were busy, distracted." I clenched my jaw. "So it's my fault?" "No," she said quickly. "It's not. You were being you. Calm, focused, loyal. I was the one who drifted. And instead of fixing things with you, I found comfort somewhere else." I stared at her. "You had a choice, Rachel, and you chose him." "I know," she whispered. "And I regret it every second." She wiped her eyes and continued. "It wasn't love. What I had with Alex, it wasn't real. It was excitement, escape. And now I've lost the only real thing I ever had." I looked down at my hands. "You broke something," I said softly, "and I don't know if it can be fixed." She reached into her bag and pulled out something I hadn't seen in weeks, her wedding ring. "I still wear it," she said, placing it on the table. "Every day, even after you left." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I understand if you never want to come back, but I'll wait, for as long as it takes." We sat in silence. I wanted to scream, cry, hold her, run away. Everything all at once. But instead I asked, "Why did you lie to me for so long?" She looked ashamed. "Because I didn't want to lose you." "You lost me the moment you chose someone else," I said. Her shoulders sank. And that was the moment I realized she didn't just lose me. I lost something too, my belief in us. I stood up and placed some cash on the table. "I hope you find peace, Rachel," I said. "I really do." She looked up, eyes pleading. "This is it?" "For now," I said gently. "Maybe forever. I don't know." And I walked away. 6 months later, healing wasn't quick or easy. I went through every stage of grief: denial, anger, sadness, emptiness, even brief moments of hope. Therapy helped. So did distance. Eventually, I moved to another city, got a new job, started jogging in the mornings and cooking dinner for myself. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Rachel and I didn't talk after that day, not for a long time. Then one morning, I received a letter. It wasn't desperate. It wasn't asking me to return. It was a simple thank you. "Thank you," she wrote, "for loving me even when I didn't deserve it. I will always carry that love with me, and I hope you find someone who loves you the way I couldn't." I couldn't. I cried when I read it, not because I missed her, but because I had finally let her go. 1 year later, I met someone new. Her name is Elise. We started as friends, slow, honest, careful. She knows everything about my past. I never lied to her, never pretended to be whole when I wasn't, and she stayed anyway. She's nothing like Rachel, and that's a good thing. With her, love doesn't feel like a game. It feels like peace. And now, when I look at the life I'm building, I understand something I didn't back then. Sometimes, the worst pain leads to the best freedom. Because when someone shows you who they truly are, believe them. And when you finally walk away from what broke you, you make room for something beautiful to grow in its place.